Hey guys, so it's currently like 9 p.m. on Tuesday. Got off of work at 5, played some video games for a couple hours, and now I think it's time to get to work on the restructuring I talked about in the last video. Kind of tired, but I wanted to get some stuff done today, so I'm gonna get it done. Alright, so the first thing I did, right, was to make a Trello board because that's what every game developer has to do. So yeah, it's just a Trello board of the tasks that I think I'll need to cover while restructuring. So I'm planning on tackling the first two tasks tonight, which are backgrounds and stars. That doesn't really make much sense now, but you guys will see what I'm talking about very soon. So I'm gonna get to work, and then I'll check back with you guys sometime when I have something to show. Alright guys, so it is 5 p.m. or after 5. I just got off work on whatever day it is, and I want to catch you up on the work I did last night. So first off, I replaced. Wait. So the first ticket that I wanted to cover was the background ticket, and that one was really simple. Basically, I was using a very large image as my background, but I decided to just switch it to the skybox, which is way easier. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. But yeah, that's done. So yeah, that's next thing I wanted to cover was the stars. So in 2016, I made a space game called Attack of the Space Kamikazes or something like that. And basically how I was making the stars, or I used scripts to make the stars. So basically, this is the old code that I was using. So the stars had code, and then there was a generator that would generate the stars and blah, blah, blah. First, it would like generate a certain amount of stars, and then it'd give them a random color, and then it would randomly like place them around the screen, and then it'd give them like a random movement speed to give it like a parallax kind of effect. And then each star on its own would like move down the screen, and if it hits the bottom of the screen, it was just gonna move randomly to the top. So that's how I used to do it, and I feel like that has like so much overhead, and it's like kind of a waste. So I wanted to do it with particles this time. So yeah, let's let's do this with particles. So I spent some time like playing around. Like I popped in the particle system, and then I like rotated it around and stuff, and it looked basically like what I was trying to do with my old code, except that it kind of looked ugly and fuzzy. So I just tweaked some values here and there, changing like the size and stuff to be more like my old space game. Yeah, I changed the speed. I gave them random speeds. So, like, some of them will move faster, some of them will move slower. And then after that, I gave them a texture. So I couldn't, oh my god, there's lightning. Done. So then just to make them look pretty, I ended up giving them a material. That's basically just a square. Basically everything in my scene right now is made out of the same square. I just like changed the shape and size. Like the guns is square, the bullets the same square, everything is the same square at this point. But eventually we'll get some art in there, but that'll be some other day. And then at the end, I actually switched the direction that the stars are going, because all the obstacles, I guess, the hazards, I guess I'll call them hazards. All the hazards are coming from the right. So I don't really want the stars to come from the right as well and kind of confuse you. So I have them coming from the left, which is the same direction your bullets are coming from. So hopefully no players will get confused by so many things moving on screen at once. So next up, or the next thing I want to restructure or redo is the movement, the way I handle movement. So right now you can click anywhere on the screen, and then I take that Y position, is basically like XY coordinates that we learned in like high school or whatever. So Y is like up and down, X is left and right. So I just take the Y position of your click, and then I tell the player to stay at the same X position, but just lerp to the Y. And a lerp is a smooth movement, if you didn't know that. Yeah, so that's how I do my movement right now. And I got someone played my game and they said it was kind of confusing that they'd prefer to drag the player. But I talked to one of my other game dev friends, and he said maybe if they release the screen, then we do the lerp, but if they're holding it down, then the player follows their finger. So I'm gonna try and implement that, but I don't really know how touch controls work. I really just copy random people's code. So I guess I'll be learning something new. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys when I have something to show. Alright, it is Friday at sometime in the day. I don't know. I think it's like 12:30. Yeah, so I just wanted to update you guys on what I did last time. So look at this. We got tap movement and we have drag movement, and I just want to let you guys know that I'm a genius. I'm a freaking no, just kidding. It wasn't that hard. I started first of all by looking at the documentation. Like I just looked up like touch input, and I just like read the articles, and the documentation is actually really helpful. Like that's how I learned what touch phases were, and that's what I ended up using in the code. There's a lot of different touch phases, but the ones I mainly care about are touch began and touch moved. So basically it lets you know when a player has touched the screen, and it lets you know when their finger has moved on the screen. So those are the main ones I cared about to get this effect to work. So I did, okay, so when I opened Streamlabs to record my dev process and everything, I accidentally hit go live instead of record. So I was just streaming silently for like freaking like an hour before I realized. So I don't really have any footage to show of like the bugs I ran into. I did get one bug. It's basically this bug. So like I'm like zipping all around the screen even when I tap it. And let me explain like why that's happening. I don't want to get too code heavy, but I still kind of want to explain why that bug was happening and how I fixed it. So basically, okay, so I have two forms of movement, right? Or I guess it's not really two forms, they kind of go hand in hand, but you can tap to move to a position, or you can drag the player, right? So when you tap, I don't want you like going there instantly. So it's kind of like delayed. So you tap and then the player will move to that position. However, when you drag, I didn't want you to be lagging behind. So like this is how it looks when it's like lagging behind. You can see that like it doesn't really feel that good to play. So basically how I got around that is when you're moving your finger, I basically speed the player up. So he's moving to the next point, like immediately, almost immediately. So when you tap, I have that delay, but when you move it, I basically speed you up so there is no delay. And that's what was causing the bug where you're just like teleporting everywhere, because the way it detects movement is like if your finger moved, like it detects the most minuscule like movement. So if your finger moves like half a centimeter on the screen, it thinks you moved. So if you tap on the screen and your finger like drags a little bit during that tap, it thinks you moved, and then it'll give you the speed boost. So basically, I made kind of a dead zone. So if your movement is like within a certain range, um, or if your finger moved but it hasn't moved past like a certain range, it doesn't register that as a drag. Yeah, so that's basically how I got the touch movement. So once I did that, I basically recreated it for mouse because I don't want to plug in my phone and or make a build just to test the touch inputs, you know, or to play the game. Yeah, so I want to be able to play it in my Unity, so I have mouse controls that do that for me. So next up on our to-do list are the gun system, reworking the gun system, and then reworking the enemy system. So I think I'm gonna spend today like trying to start that, but I don't think that's gonna be part of this video. I think this video might be getting a little long. So I did take the day off for Juneteenth, so I'm gonna be trying to use my free time today to get some stuff done. So next video I'll be handling the guns and the obstacles. So yeah,